In three, two. Oh, actually, Ken, how is your last name pronounced?
Ammi.
Ammi? Ken Ammi?
Yep.
Okay. TJump and Ken Ammi. All right, we are going live in three, two, one. Welcome, everyone, to Modern Day Debate. We are a neutral, nonpartisan platform welcoming everyone from all walks of life. If you're looking for even more fantastic debates, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe, including tonight's debate on better ethical foundation, atheism, or Christianity, with our debaters, Ken, Ammi, and TJump. Woohoo! Here to help us find out. And if you enjoy what either of them have to say tonight, our guest links are in the description below. Though with that, I'm going to hand it over to TJump for their up to 12-minute opening statement. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, the topic is what's a better ethical foundation, theism or atheism, or Christianity or atheism? And if your ethical foundation is a conscious mind and it dictates, then it's inherently subjective. To have an objective basis at all, you would need to have something independent of a mind. And so any conscious mind-based system is inherently subjective. And if you think an objective system is better, then by definition, a subjective system such as a Christianity-based model would inherently be worse. Secondly, having a basis of morality that drowned millions of babies is not a good model of morality. You probably should not base your morality on a mass murdering psychopath, not the best system. So a system that's based on some kind of a platonic object, moral law, law of physics, well-being, all of those are better than basing your morality on someone who killed more people than literally Hitler. So that's probably not a good basis of morality. Sending bears to kill kids, another thing he did, not the best decision. Clearly, this is whatever the Christian God is, it is not a moral being. And so if we want something that is a better foundation of morality, we would want something that didn't mass murder people. It would be a good starting point. Secondly, what qualifies something as a good model of morality is the same thing that qualifies it as a good model of anything in science. You look at the evidence and you try to make a principle that describes the pattern in the evidence and then infer predictions that would be explained by whatever you think is causing this. Christianity does the opposite. It just starts with its conclusion. It says God done it, and so it must be God, but doesn't actually fulfill any of the criterion of what a good hypothesis is. It doesn't start with the evidence. It doesn't show how the evidence leads to the conclusion of God. All it does is it tries to make the evidence fit their already pre-assumed hypothesis, which is a terrible methodology. We know it never works under any circumstances, and which is why the consensus of experts in the field are not theists. Moral philosophy, ethics, the experts, majority are atheists, but are still moral realists. So you don't need a God for morality. And only a very small minority of professional philosophers are religious of any kind, because it's not a good model to explain any data. For the same reason, most physicists don't say God caused the Big Bang, because there's no evidence to suppose that. So that's the first problem. Second problem is that if we're trying to solve moral dilemmas, trying to answer if there is an objective morality, what could answer the trolley problem or the G.E. Moore's open question argument or Euthyphro's dilemma, God does not answer any of those. It solves none of the problems in the field. It gives us no answers to anything. It's just whatever God says, whatever that may be. We don't know what that is, but whatever God says, that's the one. That's the correct answer. And so its inability to actually answer any of the relevant questions in the field, makes it not a relevant hypothesis. Same in physics. If you want a relevant physical hypothesis for what caused the Big Bang, there are very specific questions you need to answer. What is the perturbation density of energy in open space? You need to be able to answer that question to have a relevant theory. If you can't answer the relevant questions in the field, you don't have a legitimate explanation. So because the God hypothesis doesn't answer any of the relevant questions of moral paradoxes, moral dilemmas, it's just a completely irrelevant thing. It has no basis in morality whatsoever. still another one of the problems. So I think those are the three main problems I'll go with. One, it doesn't explain the data. The data doesn't indicate it. Two, it doesn't answer any of the relevant problems in the field of ethics or morality. And three, the Christian God is a mass murdering moral monster who is worse than Hitler. So clearly it's a bad basis of morality. I think I'll just stick with those three.
Thank you so very much, TJump. And with that of your opening statement, we will now hand it over to Ken for your up to 12-minute opening statement. The floor is yours.
And Amy, please recall that I wanted to screen share because it's disabled at the moment. There's one thing I've learned from Tom is that one can do an opening statement to a debate by kicking back and playing a video. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. With the qualifier that what you're about to hear generally swap the term ethics for the term morals. And that's something that I'm sure we'll end up getting into. You'll get the basic gist.
You should from all indications. Okay.
Yes, I believe I got that. And are you seeing this now?
Give me 1 second to now let the people on there we go. All yours.
Let me know if you're getting the audio from it as well. Okay.
Okay. I'm not hearing anything. I will say sometimes you do have to have a make sure you share sound button. Real soon.
Okay, so let me give it another shot. The only options I'm seeing is just to click on the page that I want to share. That indication that I have to give it a special setting or anything.
Try one more time.
No.
Should be able to capture whatever is coming through.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, you know what? I have an idea actually. If it's a YouTube video, just send it to me. I can't actually look at the chat without messing, but if you just email it to me very quickly, I could just try and bring it up on my end and we'll just play it through there. If it's unlisted, it means if I have the link, it's not actually private.
There it is. Okay, should be in the chat.
Alrighty then, thank you all for staying with us. I'm sending love everyone out there in the Twitch, YouTube, and podcasting community. And then I'll just wait for that email.
Oh no, it's not an email. It's in the chat from this Zoom meeting.
If I were to go into chat, that's what I meant. If you could just quickly email it.
Oh yes, you don't. Okay.
I'll go into it. It's sometimes if you fiddle with that, it can mess with.
Understood. Okay.
Oh, that would share. You're sharing screen. I don't want you to go to your. Hold on. I think I got it. And I'll just edit out. We got this. All right. So if
even that is weird because you know how you tell it specifically which page you want to share. So now I guess it's sharing everything. Okay. Okay, that should take care of that. And link, the
Right,
URL should
and
be on
now-
the email.
And I think I'm gonna get it up here for everyone. Give me 1 second. You guys hear that?
Nope.
No.
Oh, that's close. Oh, that's really close.
It's a 3D. Get a 3D screen, Tom.
No, I'm trying to make an overlay for my stream, so it's not just the blank Zoom stuff in the background, and I'm like
and
messing
it's-
it, but the edges are white, so it's going through like on the very, very bottom and the very, very
Edges.
top. So I've been like making it slightly bigger and slightly bigger each time, getting closer to getting rid of the edges.
Send in love, guys. That messed up the the OBS. I'm not sure what to say because now I have to rearrange. We got to do it live, folks, and I have to reset up cameras.
Technology.
Technology, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what to say. I think we're gonna have to bring it while I am actually, instead of just less having dead air, sending love out. Let's actually just move on to the open discussion because that at least you guys will be able to have, even if TJump is not convinced.
Because Zoom is saying, I'm sorry, Amy, I can't do that.
Well, you still have to like present the argument of some kind, I think.
Yes, in fact, if you would like to give that argument instead, so that we can actually have some kind of meat to go back and forth, would you be able to give a generalization of that?
Well, I suppose, but I mean, this is why I mentioned it way ahead of time so we could iron this out.
I understand. And so
Yeah.
I have a screen sharing function. It's the same screen
Right,
sharing function. And I did it the same as with all of the others. And so
wonder where
I did it
the
this
audio
time,
go.
but then
Yeah, I wonder why it's hearing the video but not the audio. That's the I mean, yeah, I guess if I need to, I'll just come up with something.
1 pixel off. So close.
Yep, floor is all yours for as long as you would like to talk about the subject, or at least 12 minutes. I'll start the timer from your first word.
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how much the audience got to see, but basically I was gonna play a video as part of my introduction, which we can't hear, so I guess we're gonna forego that, and I'm just making a statement off the top of my head, and then we'll take it from there.
Can you hear that?
I can hear his voice.
There you go. Okay, well, I got the voice to work, so we're going to hear his voice. And doesn't look like there's any images, so we're going to hear his opening. I got it working.
Oh, no,
ladies
no.
and gentlemen.
I heard him talking when he was saying
Oh,
it didn't work.
didn't work.
Yeah.
This? You can't hear this?
No.
Wonder if people on the other side can. It's playing through OBS. Guess not.
No, it's 1 pixel on the other side.
I don't think it's relevant at this point anyway, Tom, because
Anyone?
Yeah, we're not playing that
Okay.
anyway. So.
Then the floor is yours to just.
Okay, what is it?
So
Oh
the
no, they
audience-
say we can hear it. They're saying I got someone just saying we can hear it. It is throwing up through OBS. We can
Okay,
hear
so
it, no video.
I cannot hear it.
So it's because it's playing through. It's not playing through Zoom. It's playing through OBS. So if you're
So
capturing,
Tom,
I feel
yeah,
bad. The Zoom.
so Tom, if you just open up the live video on YouTube, it might be a bit of a delay, but at least you'll be able to hear it from there.
So it is. It was working. It just wasn't working through Zoom. I'm gonna play it. I feel bad for TJump's audience, who I know is also listening.
Well, I kind of need to hear it for it to be relevant to the debate.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
right?
Tom, is go to YouTube and watch it live.
I don't want to. No, I'm working on
moment.
stuff. I'm not going to like you pull up stuff on my screen. No.
Give me a second.
File. How do I?
Well, the audience can hear it, and then at the end, Tom, you can just say, I don't agree with that. And then we'll go.
Well, the reason I needed you to present something was so we had something to talk about. It's not. I mean, obviously, I don't agree, but the
Oh, of
point of
course.
hearing
Yeah, of
something was
course.
to know what your argument is, so I can
Yeah.
like engage with it. That was the goal.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, right.
Oh, there we go. Pixels. Okay. What is 16 by 9? Cancel.
Okay. I have to have you, Ken, argue because I'm trying to do now two things. Now I'm trying to reset up the cameras. I'm trying to find a video that both of you guys to hear. But now,
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I mean, this isn't ideal, obviously, but I guess just don't worry about that video anymore. Just have us.
all right. Well, then
On the
we are
screen and-
we're going again we're starting over. Your opening statement: better ethical foundation, atheism or Christianity.
But do I need to explain to the audience what happened again, or do they know, or how is this being put out there?
What I think they can see and hear us all making noises.
They can still hear you. I just haven't been able to set up the cameras because I've been trying to focus on trying to get a different sound that everyone can hear. Because I have a screen capture that is set up specifically for just everyone who just goes right there. But though it was my fault, we probably should have also tested that video beforehand to make sure. So sending love out there. But once again, we are talking ethical foundations, atheism or Christianity. We want to know, Ken, why Christianity?
Well, Christianity, because it provides us a premise for ethics. And one thing that this debate will have to deal with a bit is linguistics. It's semantics. Because when it comes to better ethical foundations, atheism is just not even in the ballgame. It's like completely irrelevant to the concept of ethics because it carries no such baggage. It implies no such thing. It provides a premise for no such thing. It's not even in the same category. It's like utterly irrelevant. It has nothing to say in this game when it comes down to it. Whereas in Christianity, we have the ultimate premise. We have a creator who created us to enjoy relationships and has put within and without us the primacy for those relationships. And with that comes the ultimate foundation upon which then we take our actions, right? So moral ontology comes from God himself, from his very core and essence, being an eternally relational being, enjoying eternal relationships within the Godhead that are truly dynamic because they're enjoyed amongst the persons of the Trinity, and yet free of conflict because God is one. So that serves as an ultimate foundation, or then the creatures God creates in his own image, being what some would term front-loaded, as it were, with certain ethical impulses. And then we come down to the issue of moral epistemology, whereas how we figure those things out and how exactly they apply. And obviously all this stuff can get incredibly complicated when we're dealing with interactions with each other and with everything else in the whole world. And so one issue to keep in mind that I think will be critical is when we're dealing with morality, right? Etymologically, we're dealing with the mores. So morals, morality refers to the mores. And mores are just mere descriptions of whatever it is that people just so happen to be doing. That's the morality. Whatever people do, that is moral, because that's the definition of the concept and the term. Etymologically, are the mores. So by definition, mores, morality, is situational, it's subjective, it's tentative, it's intrinsic, right? That's the concept. Whereas ethics, again, etymologically, we're dealing with the ethos. The ethos is what would prescribe what people should or ought to do. And that's what's universal, absolute, extrinsic, right? So that's the fundamental level difference when you get into the technicalities of what we're talking about when we use terms such as morals and ethics, is description versus prescription, subjective versus objective, right? It's tentative versus universal. It's situational versus absolute. But, people communicating the way that we do, people use those terms interchangeably. Some would say that ethics is a body of morals. What I defined as the ethos or ethics, some would term universal morals or objective morality. People use all kinds of terms to define these things. So when it comes down to it, it's not so much about terminology, but it's more about understanding that there's the different definition. That's we're talking about two completely different categories. So we can call them 1 and 2. We can call them A and B. We can call them cucumber and chinchilla. I mean, who cares? So it's not to quibble about words, but it's to recognize that we're talking about two completely separate concepts. One concept is a mere description of whatever it is that happened, that people just so happen to be doing. And the other one being the concept of what people should and ought to do. Right. So when it comes to atheism and Christianity, atheism is all about the mores, all about the morality. It's strictly, that's all it is. It can tell us, hey, look at the way human beings are behaving. Okay. That's full stop, because atheism has literally zero premise upon which to tell us how people ought to behave, that we should behave in certain ways and not in others. And that's not to say that atheists can't take it upon themselves, as they routinely do, to demand that, well, you should act this way, you shouldn't act that way. But of course, since we're dealing with atheism, those would be merely emotively subjective personal preferences du jour based on hidden assumptions. Okay, we have a person who somehow accidentally gained the capability of being conscious enough to interpret random biochemical reactions in their neural circuitry and be able to push air out of their lungs to express them through some kind of random evolutionary long history of accidents. And that's supposed to somehow impress us that a talking ape is telling us that we should do certain things and shouldn't do other things within a worldview and a universe wherein there is no universal imperative to do any such things. not do any such things. We're not anything in particular. It's just pure subjectivism, 100%, pure emotivism, zero premise, and just assertions, like a literal bottomless pit of assertions. So, where in Christianity, what we have is, again, an eternal God, an eternal relationship, creating beings that are to be interacting with each other and with Him. So that basically forms the ultimate foundation of ethics. So that, for example, when we read in the Ten Commandments, it begins with something that atheism just lacks absolutely, which is a premise. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. And then it goes on to say why you should be doing what I'm telling you to do. God has that prerogative. Whereas atheism, again, it asserts that ethics would come about by accidentally existing apes that somehow accidentally gain the ability to make statements that are accidentally understood by other accidental apes. And it is what it is. It's just literal noise. It might sound nice. It might be helpful. It might be a lot of things, but that's just all it is. It's like nothing on nothing. Like I said, a bottomless pile of assertions. And so with that, just off the top of my head, I do think that when it comes to ethical discussions, again, it's not so much picking on words, but we definitely need to be ready.
Oh, what has happened? Apparently the Zoom just ended for some reason. It wasn't my end. I have no idea what happened there. Check with Amy. All right. You get to see my face now. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Facebook. The link. Oh no, it was Gmail, wasn't it? I don't think we missed anything on that. It's not like invalid meeting ID. Yeah, so apparently the meeting shut down. It was not my end. I think I don't know. I think most of what he said was gibberish, so I don't know if he kind of did open there. I'll wait to see if there's an email. All right. Edit screen, window, share. Okay, BTFO'd. All right. While we wait to see if Amy comes back with something. How are you guys in the chat doing? Don, how's it going? Let's see. I want to go there. T-data meme. That's a good meme. That was a good one. All right, let's push that guy back. Still no refresh. No new. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. Now take there. Let's go there. I do want to take that guy. Berderb. Are you memorizing the openings or just playing on instinct? Mostly instinct. I'm not really paying that much attention. Take. Okay. What? Oh, damn it. I just gave him that. That was bullshit. All right. Castle. Oh, I think I just got an email. Oh, he's saying he's going to reschedule. Can't do it. He's rescheduling. Get out. All right, let's go over there. Oh, that didn't work. Oops. Well, I guess that's it for today, folks. Play a Looney Tunes clip now. Da, 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 da.